we begin our last session. This is going to be addressed by Bhavesh Upadhyay, Managing Director, Enterprising India, HR expert. And the topic which is going to take would be a CEO's expectations. We have made some slight changes. So we will have a question and answers for Bhavesh Upadhyay immediately after his address because he has to leave for some work. Followed by Mr. Parth Hirani, leadership and competence is required to become an exponential organization. And we have academician Dr. Shalini, Professor of HR and OB from Karnataka University. And she is going to talk on responsible use of technology in building exponential organizations. So with this, I think we have covered almost all aspects, major aspect. We can take some more also. The design of the afternoon session, I know it's a tough session for you and tough session for us also. Especially for me because I have a habit of going to sleep in the afternoon. So if I go to sleep, don't disturb me. Right? And don't disturb your neighbors also because they must be snoring. So if they are making too much noise, then only wake them up. It's a very peaceful situation. So that is joke apart. So three very important experts from HR they are going to address, and we have given them roughly around 25 minutes each because Unmesh Bhai ne mujhe bola hai ki your feedback is equally important. So we would like to give you 10 minutes on your feedback. And be generous on your feedback because that will decide my coming next to institute. Otherwise, they will not call me. But the fact that they have been calling me for 21 years, so I am sure next year also I will be there. But it is performance oriented and you are my customers. So be little generous, not hard. Even if we have committed some mistakes, please pardon us. So 10 minutes we will give you feedback and then vote of thanks, summary I will present. And then those students who have come from other institute, they would like to have a photographs with office bearer so they can have it. So with these words, let me introduce Bhavesh Bhai first and then Parth Hirani Saab and Shalini. Just give me a second. I am very happy Unmesh Bhai and George has taken a lot of pain. In my all earlier HR convention, not to undermine any speakers from Ahmedabad, but I have been bringing all the speakers from Bombay as if Ahmedabad never had any stalwarts. So I corrected myself. I said this time let it be a 50-50. So that design really worked. And Unmesh Bhai, I must say thank because local talent is equally important. And this is one aspect I have learned that not to rely too much on outsiders. Nothing wrong in it, but you have a talent which is homegrown also and who will do a wonderful justice. So with these words, I think let me introduce Bhavesh Bhai. He is a veteran in the field, more than three decades of experience in HR. Associated with founder and MD of his own company called Enterprises Indian, founder of EI Corporate Services, founder of Magnet Media Solutions LLP. He worked with Intas Pharmas as Executive Vice President HR, Shelby Hospital as a Chief Operating Officer, then Kerala Pharmaceuticals. Kerala means this is Modi, sir? Okay. Okay. Which one? Which one? टफ वन इतना ओपनली बोल सकते इतना अच्छा है प्रोफाइल ही इज़ अ बिजनेस एडवाइजर टू मैनी कंपनीज ही हैज़ फीचर्ड टॉप 100 HR Minds Award for Asia Pacific Congress, Best Training Awards, Boundaryless Leader by Doshion Limited, and last but not the least Gujarat Ratna Award. So we are very fortunate to have you, sir, with us. Very warm welcome. I'll introduce Parth and Shalini ma'am also. Parth Hirani, very charming personality. Director Jagdish Hirani and Associates. He is a seeker Speaker and advisor. Sir, you'll have to tell us what do you seek? I mean, seeker is a very huge word. What do you have exactly in mind? Seeker in terms of...
Filtered words or unfiltered words?
No. Of course, with a filtered word. I mean, with all positive signs, we would like seeker in the sense you keep on exploring various positivity. So I'm...
Whatever life brings in.
Yes, life brings in. So that's good. Speaker and advisor whose work prominently revolves around transforming business using growth strategy and greater will to execute the same. Now you have a two kind of an HR people, one who has a strategic thinking, but they cannot convert into an actions. You have rarely people who has both the skills together, those who can conceptualize also and those who can put it in practice also. I think these are the leaders whom we can really admire. Since 2010, he is leading strategic advisory. So some lady was asking strategic HR. You can shoot questions to madam and he will give you a right answer. He has helped many organizations to multiply industries, domain like educations, building materials, hospitality, logistics, lifestyle, future tech. So he is the right person in short to address. And the last word George has mentioned, which is very, very interesting, and that really combines seeker's role. He sees himself as a student, lifelong learning. I think this is one aspect of exponential organization, that you never stop learning. The day you stop learning, you are at Dudeshwar. Pa sees himself just as a mentor, which is like, and this is where we want you to mentor many people, students as well as HR professionals, those who can really benefit out of your knowledge. Dr. Shalini, professor in HR and OB, ma'am, this is a very close subjects I have in mind. I have been taking these subjects in Mumbai University for almost 30 years now. OB, Narsim Munji and Jamnalal Bajaj. She is a professor and controller of examinations with Karnavati. In our time, there was only one university, Gujarat University. Now you have... She has over 2 decades of experience in teaching, research and institution building with specializations in behavioral science. She has been associated with various universities and organizations as a capacity of consultant and trainer. So very warm welcome to you, ma'am, and we look forward. So with these introductions, may I request Bhavesh bhai to begin with his... Okay. Photographs kahan hai bhai? So we would like to invite first to identify our senior first.
Thank you, Bhaskar bhai. In my introduction, I just wanted to add one more thing. I am also a writer in Divya Bhaskar. I write on business management every Monday since last 10 years. When he was talking about my experience with Cadila, and I uttered instantly a tough boss. Yeah, Cadila farmer. I worked with Rajiv Modi for 15 years, and Unmesh bhai is one of the witness of how difficult it was working with the company and with Rajiv Modi, because, and that's how I think whatever we are talking today, a CEO's expectation from the HR.
No, but things have changed, or if it is not confidential?
No, things will never change. Yeah. So it's a perception. For example, I was enjoying working with him because he is a very extraordinary person. For example, if we have to focus on performance management system, so we have to start with the global, which are the top 10 company of global, what are they doing in performance management system. Then we go to the Asia, then go to the India. Ultimately, whatever he wanted to do, he will do it. But he will make sure that we will do a proper exercise, we will do a lot of documentations. So in fact, he taught me, and I have a huge respect about Rajiv Modi. He taught me what is the real role of HR, because as of now, And I was just talking to Bhaskar bhai when he talked to me, what should be the topic. And then I mentioned that I was taking interview. I am board of directors in 10 companies. So one of the company, they are looking for HR head. So the management has given me a task to appoint HR head. Then I took a interview of around 20 candidates, all vice presidents and above. And when I asked one very simple question, what is the role of HR? Most of the people, they talk about bridge, the bridge between the employees and the management. I wanted to destroy that bridge. कितना साल हो गए हैं? We are talking about same bridge. एक किसके लिए bridge बनना है? Employees they are talking about their issues, problems. They are not comfortable with the company, and HR they are just listening. Sometimes they are also endorsed. अरे यार मैं भी happy नहीं हूँ. So they don't have a guts to talk to the management. So this is very unfortunate. I may be slightly harsh today, but I have worked in Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, all metro cities. I am an advisor in 2 companies in Bangalore and Hyderabad. The way they are conceptualizing the role of HR and what we are talking in Gujarat is completely different. When we talk about most of the HR people, they are just doing a coordination job, administrative kind of HR. I am not criticizing HR because I have also seen a few professional HR here. They are doing extremely great. But I am talking about in general, and I am using this platform to at least make some difference of thinking what should be the role of HR. So my point today, that what is the CEO expectations? CEO means what? CEO means a leader of the organizations. A company, I am just giving an example, the panelist. There is a company, turnover is 2,000 crore in Ahmedabad based company, but they don't have HR. 2,000 crore turnover, they don't have formal HR. Then there was some issues and they appointed me as a board of director. But I asked the management कि भाई HR क्यों नहीं है कंपनी में? तो 2,000 करोड़ की कंपनी हो गई, HR नहीं है, तो उनके HR क्या कर सकता है? मैंने बोला कि they will bring the right people, they will train them, they will align human resources to organization growth. मन के सब पेपर पे है, आप बता के करके दिखाओ कैसे हो सकता है. So my point here is that we need to create a huge impact when we talk about the role of HR. So we have to introspect. Most of the people here, they are HR professionals. So are we doing the right thing when we work with any university or in an organization or any body? Are we doing the right thing? What is the real role of HR? Can I ask you a question? What is the real role of HR? Just, yeah. Can you ask me what is the real role of HR? Can any? For what? इससे क्या होगा फिर? इससे भी क्या होगा? Organization? That's what. The role of HR is to add value to the organization in terms of tangible growth. अगर आप नंबर नहीं दे पाओगे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को in terms of growth, in terms of productivity, in terms of cost saving, in terms of aligning human resources to the company vision, then there is no meaning of HR. एक बीजापुर में एक कंपनी है समर डायमंड, नाम किसी ने सुना है? इट्स अगेन ए 2,200 करोड़ कंपनी एंड 4,000 लोग वहाँ काम कर रहे हैं. They don't have a structure HR department, but MD himself, he works as a HR head, MD and his wife, and they have such a beautiful policies, you will not believe. So what they have done, they have touched the mindset of people. वो उन लोगों ने लोगों के एम्प्लॉयज़ के हार्ट से कनेक्ट किया in terms of, आई एम जस्ट गिविंग वन एग्जांपल कि कंपनी के एम्प्लॉयज़ कंपनी में काम कर रहे हैं, बट उनके जो पेरेंट्स हैं उन्होंने एक श्रवण यात्रा स्टार्ट किया. कंपनी की बसेस आइडियल थी, सो वो बसेस को यूज़ करें, उन्होंने श्रवण यात्रा स्टार्ट किया. फिर उन्होंने एक क्लब स्टार्ट किया जिसका की रिजल्ट एरियाज 100% से ऊपर है, उनको लिए एक कैंटीन में खाने के लिए एक अलग कॉर्नर बनाया. सो फिर एक उन्होंने एक इनिशिएटिव लिया था कि जिसका कंट्रीब्यूशन 150% से ऊपर है जॉब प्रोफाइल के ऊपर, सो उनको मूवी टिकट, उसकी वाइफ के लिए कार, उसके बेटे के लिए लैपटॉप. सो दिस आर द स्मॉल थिंग्स, बट इट क्रिएट अ पार्टनरशिप विद द फैमिली. सी फॉरेन की बात अलग है, बट इंडिया में अगर इफ़ आई हैव टू लीव द जॉब, आई हैव टू टॉक टू माई वाइफ फर्स्ट. मेरी फैमिली को बताना पड़ेगा कि भाई व्हेन आई वाज इन अ प्रेसिडेंट ग्लोबल एचआर विद द इंटास, having a handsome salary, and when I broke the news to my wife, then I wanted to leave the job and I wanted to start something on my own. She cried for 2 days. मैंने बोला अरे क्या प्रॉब्लम है, यू शुड हैव अ कॉन्फिडेंस ऑन मी. सो इन इंडिया वी हैव टू टॉक टू अवर फैमिली फर्स्ट, वी हैव टू पार्टनर विद फैमिली. सो if you wanted to play a real role of HR, you must know that your customers are employees and their families. Employees and their families. If you are starting a connect with your families and the employees, you can at least touch their heart. Again, we are coming back to the role of HR from a CEO's expectation. So one of the fundamentals of perception, I can say, most of the promoters, Gujarati promoters, they have also different mindset, because unfortunately they have a good vision, they talk very progress, लेकिन जो चेक साइनिंग करने की बात आती है तो दे आई कैन सी अ पेन इन देयर आइज, गुजराती एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के. सो इन दिस सिचुएशन HR हैज़ टू प्ले अ वेरी वाइटल रोल. एक छोटी कंपनी में मैं, एक 20 करोड़ की कंपनी है, उसका MD मुझे मिलने आया था 1 month ago. He said, Bhavesh bhai, we wanted to create a huge history in the company. I have created something great in this field, and now, as of now, it's a people-driven organization, and we wanted to make it a process-driven organization. So मैंने सोचा कि 20 करोड़ की कंपनी है तो कैसे कर पाएगा ये. मैंने बोला कि how are you open for delegations to your people? मैंने कहा what do you mean by delegations? मैंने बोला you have to give a finance authority to your people, your CEOs, your top management, your presidents, vice presidents. मैंने कहा आई वॉन्टेड टू गिव इट डेलीगेशन, बट मुझे हमेशा डाउट रहता है कि वो लोग काम करेंगे कि नहीं करेंगे अच्छी तरह से. सो उन गुजराती एंटरप्रेन्योर्स में अनफॉर्चुनेटली दे हैव ऑलवेज डाउट. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 70-80% गुजराती एंटरप्रेन्योर्स. पार्डन मी, बिकॉज आई एम ऑल्सो अ गुजराती एंटरप्रेन्योर, वन ऑफ द एंटरप्रेन्योर. आई हैव अ 2 फार्मा कंपनी नाउ. सो फिर मैंने उनको समझाया कि बॉस, इफ़ यू वॉन्टेड टू ग्रो बिग, यू कैनॉट डू अलोन. You have to team to partner. You have to partner with your team. You have to partner with your leadership. You have to trust them. You have to align them with your vision. Then only you can grow. So anyway, so when we talk about CEO's expectation from HR, coming back to the original topic, as of now, what CEO wants as a HR person to perform? Any idea? Sorry? Troubleshooter. Anything? Anyone else? एक कंपनी है मुंबई में. सो वेन एवर HR person joins, or any person join, any manager and above person join, they have to go for a 25 days induction program for only understanding the business processes, understand the business cycle. If you are not knowing the business processes, you cannot do HR. If you are not knowing the business cycle of the company, you cannot do HR. So first and very important things from a CEO's perspective, that HR must know business processes. HR should have a business acumen. Do you agree with me or not? अगर आपको बिजनेस पता नहीं है तो आप HR कर ही नहीं पाओगे. most of the HR people, they are doing only 2 things here. एक तो payroll management and the recruitment. And recruitment also, they just do a coordination. Candidates आएगा, CVs उसको line managers को दो, और वो बोलेगा कि 2 बजे के इंटरव्यू के लिए बोला ना, फिर वो लेके आएगा, इंटरव्यू करेगा, फिर वो बोलेगा कि नहीं उसको रिजेक्ट कर दो या ऑफर कर दो. वो those days have gone. If you wanted to make it differentiate, you need to understand the business, you need to take the interviews, you need to equally competent like line managers. When I was a president with the Intas, मेरी HR टीम का फर्स्ट 5 स्लाइड उनका प्रेजेंटेशन में बिजनेस कि कंपटीशन में अभी कहाँ है, व्हाट इज़ अवर मार्केट शेयर, लास्ट महीने का हमारा परफॉर्मेंस कितना था, अभी ये महीने में हमारा परफॉर्मेंस क्या है, हमारा आगे का महीने का प्लानिंग क्या है, कहाँ हमारा ग्रोथ हुआ है, कहाँ हमारा डी ग्रोथ हुआ है, वेयर आर द इश्यूज वी आर फेसिंग, विच आर द वीकेस्ट लिंक इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, विच आर अवर स्ट्रेंथ. पहले 5-6 स्लाइड तो मेरे HR वाले वही प्रेजेंटेशन करते थे, बिकॉज आई फर्मली बिलीव इफ दे नो द बिजनेस, इफ दे नो बिजनेस प्रोसेसेस, दे कैन डू अ मच बेटर HR. Do you agree with me? So first important things from a CEO's perspective for any HR person, whether you are working in a university or corporate or any companies, you have to understand the business processes. If you are a professor working in the university, if you are not understanding or not knowing the syllabus, or not knowing the student mindset, or not knowing who are customers, you cannot do a proper job as a professor. So my point is that wherever you work, but you need to understand the business processes. Second, how to align human resources with the organization objective. CEO wants all HR human resources basically, they should work with the organization goal. They should work with the tandem with the organization philosophy. Any example you have? कोई कर पाया ऐसा? How to align human resources with the organization goal? Possible है? I'm just asking very simple question. Possible है ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज को ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के गोल के साथ अलाइन करना? जस्ट गिव मी एग्जांपल, कैसे पॉसिबल है? गुड. एनीवन एल्स? Very true. So my point is that we should design such a tool which will help organization to align HR human resources objectives to the organization objective. For example, if you have a right performance management system, if you have a right key result areas, if you have a right competency development program, like एक individual behavior है किसी का, ऐसा organization का भी behavior है. For example, Cadila Pharma, आपने अभी देखा कि उसका माइंड बिहेवियर कैसा है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का. एवरीवन नोज इन द इंडस्ट्रीज कि कैडिला में काम करना बहुत टफ है. ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का बिहेवियर है. लाइक अनदर कैडिला, जाइडस कैडिला, सेम बोथ हैव. आई वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ अ ओल्ड कैडिला. दोनों का स्प्लिट हुआ था, तब आई वाज देयर. सो वन कंपनी हैज़ ग्रोन लाइक एनीथिंग, मोर देन 13,000 14,000 करोड़. अनदर कंपनी इज ओनली अ 3,000 करोड़ कंपनी सो फार. So leadership make the difference. So organization philosophy, organization culture, who decide the organization culture? Or leaders decide. So my point is that if you know that what is the right tool for right organization, कोई organization में किसी को KRA क्या है वो मालूम नहीं है और आप प्लान करते हो मैं KRA डिज़ाइन कर दूंगा तो this will not work. अगर वहाँ रेटिंग बेस्ड परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल सिस्टम है और आपने वहाँ हाईटेक 360 डिग्री परफॉर्मेंस मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम लगा दिया तो वो सक्सेसफुल होगा ही नहीं. तो माई पॉइंट इज दैट लुकिंग टू द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नीड, लुकिंग टू द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन करंट सिचुएशन, यू मस्ट डिजाइन सच अ सिंपल structure way a tool that organization can be benefited. And don't show your performance to the management. HR, I was also making some mistakes. अगर मैंने 10 पॉइंट पे काम किया तो आई वॉज मेकिंग अ प्रेजेंटेशन राजीव मोदी को कि मैंने तो बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट कर दिया है. सो अल्टीमेटली मैनेजमेंट नोस कि कौन क्या कर रहा है. सो बीइंग ए HR पर्सन, आई वांटेड टू गिव यू एडवाइस कि बी अ साइलेंट वर्कर, बी अ सिस्टमैटिक पर्सन. वॉट एवर यू डू विद द लॉन्ग टर्म स्ट्रैटेजी, डू विद द लॉन्ग टर्म विजन. एंड as I gave an example, looking to the organization, you plan and design such a smart, specific, a short tool in terms of KRA or KPIs, competency development program, cross-functional teams, or any other tools which will help the organization to grow. Third एक perspective है which I can give you example of again a small company of Ahmedabad where they have appointed HR as a part of their board, and I was also there as one of the advisor. So when it was my first surprise shocked when I came to know that the HR person so competent, and he was exactly knowing where organization is looking for a help from a business point of sight. For example, it was an EPC company, and he said the main issue is not with the people. Main issue is that we are not competent in terms of some equipment, in terms of some our process. So my point here is to give you advice that HR should have such a competent mindset, or HR should know the industry so well so he can also advise to the management. एक कब होगा? When you understand the business, when you understand the market, when you understand the people, when you understand the process. So if you wanted to become a great HR person, if you wanted to become a competent HR person, you should understand the business first. You should have a business acumen. You should understand the business cycle. पहले आप business सीखो, HR तो अपने आप आ ही जाएगा. Correct? Last point. As I said earlier, role of HR is to add value to the business. When the management feels that these gentlemen is adding value beyond the boundaries, these gentlemen, HR professional, is making a value in terms of his role, out of box thinking, out of way, automatic you will gain the respect. So my advice to all HR professionals that if you wanted to gain the respect, if you wanted to do something best, if you wanted to create a history in the company, आप अपना काम तो करो, लेकिन think from a management perspective, think from a CEO's perspective, think from the entrepreneur's perspective. अगर मैं कंपनी का मालिक होता तो मैं क्या करता? अगर एक लाइन अगर आप सोच लो कि अगर मैं कंपनी का मालिक होता तो ये ऐसी सिचुएशन में क्या करता, you will get the immediate answer. So my point here is, if you are thinking from a management perspective or the leader perspective, you will get the all answers what HR has to do. So I'm not talking much today. I'm just repeating what I said. The role of HR is to add value to business. I'm repeating again. The role of HR is to add value to business in terms of tangible outcomes, numbers-driven outcomes. It may be a productivity, it may be a cost, it may be a real business, but HR has to add value into business. Second, HR should have a business acumen. अगर आप बिजनेस को जानते नहीं हो, then you are not a true HR person. Third, what I said, shift your role from a coordination to a real line manager role. Payroll में से, administrative HR में से धीरे धीरे बाहर निकलो and do a valuable role where you can add value to the business, add value to the company. So coordination, agar if you are taking the interview, you should have a complete knowledge about what kind of people you are looking for, what kind of competency, skills, knowledge you are looking for. So you should, when you select the person, 90% the person should be selected by the line managers. तो आपको एक कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए कि मेरे में इतनी ताकत है, मेरे में इतना नॉलेज है, मैं जो सिलेक्ट करूँगा वो कंपनी सिलेक्ट कर लेगी. So shift your role from coordination to a competent line manager. Fourth, मैंने आपको बोला कि focus on gaining a respect from the company in terms of working with a silent mind, working with a structured way, working with a systematic way. Don't create too much hype in the company. If you are a competent guy, if you are making impact in the organization, management will definitely notice it. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, since Bhavishbhai has to leave, we will encourage few questions before we invite Parth Hirani sir to address. Any questions? Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, sir. I'm Bhagirat Dodia, and I'm working in the CMHR field since 6 years from now. I started the career at the early stage in the same, same HR field itself. So what I came through is like currently wherever I worked or something, so I found out that major cases like the organizations have stability concerns and this stage is like in the coming years, like as the hiring and firing are going on, the HRs too face the same that in the last couple of organizations where I worked, even the HR were facing the same concerns that the attrition of the HR itself was a huge scenario.
Concern.
So your views on the same, like I would like to know.
Sure, I think Hello. Yeah. So basically, people people join organization because organization name and credibility. But most of the people leaves because of their bosses and the culture. Hardly 20% people leaves because of the salary and the designations. So if you are HR person, you need to ensure that people work in the organization in the right environment. You take a stand when the line manager or the management not treating employees in the right manner. If they are abusing employees, being a HR person, it is your responsibility to take the stand. So if you are not taking the stand, then you should not have a sleep in the night. If you are a true HR person, you should have guts to talk to management कि बॉस आपको अगर करना क्या है, अगर if you want to retain people for the longer period, if you wanted to create a right culture, ultimately what entrepreneurs want or what the management wants, they want a growth. And who can give the growth? Only people can give the growth. So if you are not retaining people, or if you are not creating a culture in the organization where people can work for a longer period, so organization cannot grow. So being a HR person, you should have a strong mindset. You should have a clear way to how to talk to the management, and you should take a stand sometimes. But I have seen many organizations where people are not stable. Even HR is not stable, and HR is not stable because of mostly it is the leadership behavior. People don't work for only salary. If you are getting a respect, if you are getting a good recognition, why people live in the organizations? So either you choose a right organization where there is a right culture in the company, or if you are jumped into the bad organization, unfortunately, then try to create a right culture in the company. When I left Cadila and I have joined such a worse company, suddenly कोई HR नहीं, सब एक एंटरप्रेन्योर्स जो एक दूसरे को गालियाँ बोलते थे, कोई किसी को डस्टर फेंक देता था. ऐसी कंपनी में मैंने गलती से ज्वाइन कर लिया था. बट आई सेड टू माई सेल्फ कि आई हैव जॉइन दिस कंपनी फ्रॉम ए सिस्टम ड्रिवन कंपनी, एंड इट इज़ माई डिसीजन टू जॉइन दिस कंपनी, and I have proved the world that I have taken the right decision. So for that I worked so hard with the management. Fortunately MD was very clear, MD was very progressive. So it took me 2 years, but I have changed the complete culture of the organizations. So if you have a guts, if you know how to do it, you can do it.
Okay, any questions? Do you have any questions?
Business is very less, because sometimes there is no project or less project coming to the company, so there are sometimes it happens cost cutting also. So sometimes management wants to hire the skilled people with less salary. That time is also very difficult to hire the people. That's problem we are facing. So could you give me some suggestion? Because right now there are less, business market is going very less. So don't get proper right project especially in IT company.
Correct.
So there are so many we are talk them to please leave the organization because we don't have some projects. So there are so many there's things is happen right now in the IT's company.
Yeah.
Because in Ahmedabad we have 5,200 companies in ITs.
Correct.
So getting project from outside India and globally is some difficult.
So I'll tell you, I understood your question very well, and I've gone through in such situation. So you take this as a challenge being a HR person, and to be very honest with you, you also go to the market and get the project. Then you are a real HR manager. See, either you can see a situation where nothing is happening, or you take a challenge. You go to the market and you get the projects. That is one situation. Second situation, if you don't have a skill to go to the market, then try to adjust in the situation. Get the best people in the company, and those who are mediocres, let them go from the company. See, HR should be a soft-spoken, a very good by heart. At the same time, HR should also a very strong person, because those mediocre people, they are burning. They are contributing in the burn of the company. So we should, it is a responsibility of HR person that at least 30, 40, 50, 60 people, those who are working with the company, they should have a high competent level. So it is all right if management says that the poor or the mediocre people should go, so it is a good thing. You should support them. But I would always go with the first advice, where HR should work beyond the boundary. HR should take the challenge, and they should accept the challenge and do some value addition to the company.
Okay. Any last questions or before I summarize? Yes, sir. Sweet and short, हाँ? जोर से बोलो चलेगा?
हाँ.
अच्छा, मैडम बोल रही है. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Avni Joshi. So, it's technically a very simple question. Basically, HR provides job, but when HR needs a job for themselves, and specifically when they wish to change an industry, why is it a bit difficult, and specifically into pharma industries?
You are from pharma?
No, I'm not from pharma. I was looking for pharma.
अच्छा अच्छा. ये inside story है.
So if you are not getting a job, person himself or herself is responsible, according to me. So we should have such a competency and such a extraordinary talent. People should after us to appoint us. Whether you are in a small position or if you are a middle level position, but you should have extraordinary skills and competency. And people should know from the market that this gentleman or this lady should come to the organization. So being a HR person, you should create a positive image about yourself, that you are the person who has created something better for organizations. And if you have some history of doing great things in your past organization, definitely I'm sure you will get a job. You will get a better job.
Okay, I think we'll stop here. But Bhaveshbhai, you have opened Pandora's box. And especially this was required after lunch, because your blood flows from here to. So I think if I summarize what you have mentioned rightly without any presentation, PowerPoint presentation, but it's only a one word: add value, whichever functions you are in, number one. We as a HR always complain that we do not have a seat on table, Parsas, Hirani sir, am I right? We do not have a place, we do not have a seat on the table, we are not a part of boards, anymore. They treat us like a third party. So this is another concerns we have. Another important questions as a HR head, I liked interacting more with audience, because this is a question which normally Parsa keep on asking number of times by HR people, that how many CEO has occupied number one position?
True.
And barely you can count on fingers. Either they come from operations, either chartered accountant or marketing person. Then why not HR? Because we are not good at numbers. Maybe I'm not making a general statement, but partly true. So that is one. So that is where Upadhyay sir, Bhavesh Bhai said, you have to make your own space. Number one. Number two, which brings very important question in terms of the culture of an organization. Someone mentioned in the morning, Madam mentioned, now she is busy with mobile. She mentioned with Tatas. I think this is a part of culture. You don't have to teach them. Number two, Bhavesh Bhai mentioned rightly, two organizations separated. I don't want to repeat the name again and again because it is in public domain. So we are not criticizing anyone. But I consider you as a part of my internal group. And this is for learning, not to point out to someone that you are bad. But leadership plays a very important role. And there you gave a very good examples. If you create a toxic culture, the word which I am using, it is a toxic work culture, and it is known in the market. Market is very small. You come to know what is happening, and that is where that becomes a HR branding. That people would love to join those organizations who pays you less, but your comfort level is very high. where you feel like giving back to the. So that is another point we have. Another point which Bhavishbhai mentioned in terms of your leadership plays a very important role in terms of numbers that you produce. Now you gave an example, the one which has grown 1,000 times more compared to the last one. There must be some reasons. And you know the two leaders' style of functioning. I mean, it is in public domain. So that is another good aspect. Not to forget, HR is always a top driven. Let's accept this fact. Things are moving slowly and gradually, but it is moving in a right direction. And that is where the message we would like to give it, these are the critical burning issues that should not demotivate youngsters that all is useless. No, that is not the message of this conference. I think we have you come to HR because you love, no one has forced you. It is your choice. Now don't complain. If you don't like it, leave it. There is nothing wrong in blaming profession, but you must examine yourself also in terms of what has been your contribution. Leadership plays, and what Bhavishbhai mentioned, HR competencies. Now this is a simple questions we ask to the students that, how do you keep yourself updated on latest what is happening? Sir, time nahi milta hai. If Suryanarayan gets a time till, he gets up at 5 o'clock, reads for 1 hour, he updates himself, and you can see the success. He doesn't have to play anything. So there is no point in blaming. Are you prepared to pay the price? Are you prepared to pay the price? It's not pep talk. Ultimately, at the end of the day, corporate wants hard realities. I still remember, Path Sahab, ICICI used to come out with an ad that if you don't like heat, don't enter into the kitchen. If you don't like heat, don't enter into the kitchen. So you are entering into a kitchen which is full of smell, which full of heat. I mean, you have to accept it. So with these words, and the last one, which is a hard fact, Bhavishbhai. We love role of police, right or wrong, right? And that is where they brand us as a police. आप बाजू में से पसार भी होते हो तो they will stop talking, because HR is entering into an era. Can they come to you and share their feelings? I think this is a culture what we need, and I am sure these younger generations, you have a blend of people who are seniors, who are juniors. I think message should be very clear that it's a very positive field. You will contribute a lot, and there is a huge scope. And with tech HR, you can change the things. In our time, it was difficult, but in your time, it is possible. So this is a positive message we would like to pass on. Thank you, Bhavishbhai, for opening up a very hot topic. We can have a half-day program on leadership style of organizations and how it works. May I request Unmesh Bhai? Yes, George will do it. Okay, George, I'm sorry. I'm sitting here. You take someone close with a granted, okay, he doesn't have a role to play, but he is the backbone, right? So may I request small moment to do. So thank you, Bhavishbhai. Thank you for coming. And please keep on blessing us.
Yeah, keep in touch.
Sir, photographs come up. Please, ma'am, आप ही panel man आगे आ जाइए.
अच्छा आ गया.
Ajay has been a whole time, almost 30 years, the same program. You always ensures कि सबके photographs सामने आने चाहिए. George, अभी आ जाओ. Come, please.
Am I audible? To the last row? Audible? All right. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Mr. Bhaskar, for the lovely introduction and adding some nice adjectives to it. So, meant a lot. And thanks a lot, AMA, for inviting me to such a wonderful audience. Yes, but I would like to probably stick to the institute name, sir. No, both matters, 100%, definitely. So, Bhavesh bhai actually made me think a lot, and probably I just decided to change the beginning, how I wanted to start. And honestly, I would be the last person to be, forget about invited, allowed to enter in any HR event. If you go back, I think 12 to 14 years from now, you know rebels, right? So, HR और मेरा straight mail communication होता था, ये नहीं करूँगा. और अगर सामने मिलेंगे तो ऐसे जो करना है कर लो. So, if I probably go back to some of those old colleagues looking at me here, I'm sure they would be really, really upset that what the hell this guy is doing in an HR conference. Please kick him out right now. He doesn't understand. And I honestly hated HR from the bottom of my heart. It's a useless people, complete waste of money. Why don't organization pay us little more, right? So, because anyway, who retains the people? We retain. काम कौन करवाता है? हम करवाते हैं. Performance हम देते हैं. Goals हम लेते हैं. ये लोग करते क्या है? Policies बना के देते हैं. And those policies doesn't make any sense. So I'm not going to follow. So I used to get a lot of red cheats, right? So I worked for that company for about a year, and then I got promoted. So in my first quarter of a manager, they had this 360-degree appraisal. So in the first quarter, they assessed the team. My boss was very happy, but HR was very sad, and I got a red cheat. Again, I didn't care. I said, that's okay. I'll figure it out. आपको अच्छा green cheat चाहिए ना, मिल जाएगा. First, I went to my boss and I said, what does this mean? आपको performance चाहिए कि happy employees चाहिए? तो मैं बोला सब दोनों चीज मिलना मुश्किल. I mean, I'm just talking about my old days, right? And I'm trying to relate, and I've been into different sides of the business, and somehow accidentally I started inspiring because of some individuals who changed my perspective, who actually could explain that how can they really help me in whatever I'm trying to do. And I would say they became my coach. And that's why I changed my definition. I mean, of course, I'll not go on a book definition, and there are different people look at the same thing in a different perspective. So I'm just sharing my perspective. How I saw HR is a coach to a leader, coach to a team, right? And because they're constantly observing the team, how we are playing, right? HR is not playing with me, but he's constantly observing, and whether I'm playing a football or I'm playing a cricket or I'm playing sales or I'm playing operations, right? He or she observes me and helps us because ultimately, of course, I learned in the second quarter कि अगर टीम ही नहीं होगी तो परफॉर्मेंस किससे निकालूंगा. So खाली डिमांड करने से कुछ नहीं होगा. टेम्पररी टाइम होगा. I'll be able to pull a pick of performance, but eventually people will go away, and then there's no point of whatever strategies or tactics I use. So, I mean, I'm just starting with my definition. I just thought to add this story. But with this, why I added this story, I think it's very important to the topic which I am asked to cover, which is leadership and competencies to become an exponential organization, right? And just with the same topic, I want to start with an event which just happened in my personal life just about a month back, and that was kind of a shocking or maybe reconnecting to your roots, what we call our ethics or team spirit and all those good words which we use, which we throw away in a bin when we really go to office, right? पढ़ते हैं सब कुछ, lectures देते हैं, but office जाते वक्त ये सब बातें कंपनी ऐसे नहीं चलती, and that's what happened to me. So one of my cousin got a new job, and of course handsome package, and very excited. So he visited us, and he explained, and we were really happy. We were congratulating him that wow. So we were understanding. We were really happy because it was not just more salary; it was also a role which he really wanted, right? And he was very happy because his radius was increasing. He will be able to contribute more in a better area, right? Which he felt that he's able to do, but he did not have the opportunity, probably, right? So now I have a 10-year-old son. He was listening to all those things, and as we say that as we grow older, we move further away from our soul, from our self, and he made me realize that. So he asked a question that, Kaka, is this, first of course he congratulated, and he's generally a very curious guy, so he again asked, kya products hai, kya karna hai aapko, what will be your exit role and all those things. But then he asked two questions which actually made the room silent. Is this new company which you are joining, is it competing with your existing company? And he felt a little awkward, and he said, yeah, I'm sort of, some products, not everything. He says, but then shouldn't you support your existing team and make it stronger rather than changing the team? And this was, of course, then everybody was kind of speechless. What he was talking made a lot of sense, but how do you respond? Should I go and tell him कि बेटा कुछ नहीं, पैसा मिलता है ज़्यादा, चला जाने का, इतना टीम बीम सब छोड़ देने का? But what he was taking or what he was asking actually made sense, right? But then one day, do we really create such organizations? We are just doing an employee and employer or paid workforce thingy. Right? I'm not trying to say that everywhere, I mean, there are nowhere teams, right? But if you actually scan across the industries, you will rarely find few organizations which actually understands that I'm trying to create a team, right? Of course, cricket team में से भी कुछ लोग जाते हैं पैसे के लिए, right? Football में से भी जाते हैं. So I'm not saying that. Of course, there are so many parameters behind. Of course, there's a choice. Let's say I don't want to work with you. I mean, it's just there are different ideologies, and I don't want to be part of this team, and that's an individual choice. So I'm not saying that if you be part of an organization, you like stick with that for lifelong. But are leaders really trying to? Are they even aiming to create that team spirit? Right? And if you're not aiming, if it's like what you ask is what you get, right? What you seek is what will come in front of you, right? So if you seek a paid workforce who will work for you 8 hours in an exchange of a money, that's what you are going to get. But if you seek to create a team, right, which is connected with a purpose of why you exist, who believe in your story. In fact, they are not the people who believe in your story. They are the people who share your story. Right? And if that's what you create, then I'm sure, I think that's what I will call as a first formula is of exponential organization. Right? Because you are not hiring time, you are not hiring skills, you are hiring or you are partnering desire. Right? And when you partner desire, it's a game-changing thing. Right? And again, I go back to my first story. In my life changed, and that the person who was named as an HR partner in a larger organization, right? So he was not very senior. Right now, he's at a very senior position. But again, I said, मैं क्या बात करूँगा इससे? But after like second quarter, third quarter, I was forced. My boss told me, no, you have to meet HR. Now you can't avoid. But that guy actually helped me because he offered. He said, okay, I understand. If you don't believe in our policies, that's okay. But why don't we talk? Why don't we work it out? Let me understand what are you trying to achieve. And let me see if I can partner in your journey. And that's what Mr. Bhavesh was talking about, is real partner with the business leader. And together, I mean, still today, I ensure that I talk to him once in a month. And whenever I am trying to create any teams or I find struggle, I ask his help, right? And that's a coach. So, again, I am saying that the story is something which we want people to talk together. And a leader and HR becomes partner. I just look at business with sports, right? And that's the way I look at the game, I mean, or a day, every month, every year. And that's what is fun to play, right? So now the question comes is, how do we, I mean, the philosophy is one thing, right? So ज्ञान देना अच्छी बात है, मैं बोलूँगा टीम बना लो, ये कर लो, वो कर लो, right? But the question आता है कि करेगा कौन, right? So again, in my old days मैं हंसते हंसते बोल देता HR कर लेगा ना, हमारी क्या ज़रूरत है उसमें. But of course it's a partnered role, right? So what I feel is there are 4 pillars, right? I think this isn't working. Nope. Or maybe that's okay. I'll use the keypad. Okay. Thank you. So if we focus on the 4 pillar, that's where I feel the HR and leadership can work cohesively together. Is what I call is religion, agility, attitude of a mother, diversity and inclusion, right? I'll go into depth of that. Again, we have 20 minutes, so we'll try to stay as brief as possible and just giving a macro opinion. But what works more, control or motivation? No, control. Huh? Of course. You can control. Huh? It's a combination. But, you know, even dictators need religious leaders. If you go to old days, जो राजा होते थे वो धर्म गुरु के अगेंस्ट में नहीं जाते थे, right? धर्म से जोड़ते थे, right? I am trying to talk about policies versus culture, right? I still don't like most HR professionals, and please don't mind me saying this, because वो कंपनी में जॉब जैसे ही लेंगे पहले आके बोलेंगे सर पॉलिसी में इतने चेंजेस करने हैं. अच्छा, ठीक है. All you are doing is you are talking about control, right? I need somebody who will help me make my business better, who will help me create a team, right, of performers, excitement, right, attracted towards my vision, towards the dream which you are working on it. Can you help me build a religion? Can you help me build a culture? I have hardly found out few HR leaders जो कंपनी में ज्वाइन करके बोलते हैं can we define culture? And culture is such a vaguely misused word, right? And but culture has to be documented. धर्म की बुक रहती है, पता है? They are all religions, right? बुक रहती है उस, right? Of course, बुक के misinterpretation हजार होते हैं, उसमें मैं नहीं जाऊँगा, right? But ultimately, what I feel is, why don't you spend really days in brainstorming? लीडर को खुद को assume culture होता है, right? And we do a lot of exercise, lot of deep diving into really what kind of culture we want to establish. And in fact, in our consulting business, even if we end up working with the same category of investment, we understand that the culture, even if I and you are working on the same product, doesn't mean that we can't compete so easily, because the culture is very different, and culture is a philosophy of a leader, right? But sometimes they themselves are not really aware of what kind of culture they want to establish. And in a larger organization, there are multiple leaders. They all have to do tons of brainstorming and come with an agreement that this is the kind of culture, this is the kind of religion which you want to establish, right? And see, because, and of course, usme culture, when you talk about it, it also covers some of the old jargons which we all publicly misuse, like purpose statement, values, right? सब खड्डे में गया, but लिखना जरूरी है, right? Promoter खुद भी नहीं पढ़ेगा, but those things make a lot of sense, right? I just use one example. Why purpose and values are so important, right, to an organization. Is killing a human good or bad? Your values will say bad, your purpose can make it good. If I am an army professional, right, if I am trying to, let's say, किसी को freedom दिलवा रहा हूँ, right, तो वहाँ के soldiers को, वहाँ के राजा को मुझे मारना है, I am doing good. But civilian को मार रहा हूँ, तो not good. Purpose, this thing sounds so funny. 90% companies लिखने के लिए लिखती है. Nobody means it. कोई consultant hire कर देंगे, मस्त अच्छे वर्ड्स यूज कर लेंगे, राइट? और आपने विजन, मिशन, वैल्यूज लिख लिया, खत्म हो गया. अभी बाकी सब का ये भी कहानी है, एक बुक छाप दो जिसमें स्टैंडर्ड पॉलिसी होनी चाहिए, राइट? छुट्टी कितनी देनी है, राइट? पेड कितनी, अनपेड कितनी, कैसे कम करे, राइट? ये सब के ऊपर दुनिया भर का ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग होता है. बट कल्चर कैसे बना है, उसके ऊपर जीरो ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग. सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट पिलर व्हाट आई फील is in building an exponential organization. And yes, HR does play a very vital role, right? Because what I understand is we guys understand the human psychology, right? वो एक ही बेचना है उसको भी ना, धर्म को बेचना भी जरूरी है, तो धर्म गुरु भी बोल सकता हूँ मैं HR को, right? And yes, of course, if I look at from a policy angle, हाँ, if you don't like my religion, please leave. But if you are part of my community, and you know, community के rules सब लोग proud से बोलते हैं, हम लोग ऐसा नहीं करते. In fact, our family is a community. I mean, first family, extended family, the societies in which we live. There are a lot of untold rules, and we don't look at it as a control. We look at it as an advantage, because that's how it has been preached to us. That in order to live together with each other, right, to support the community, to make this as a better place of living, this is how we have agreed to live. Right? Moving to the second pillar of building an exponential organization is agility. If I am exceeding time, please stop me. Right? Now, again, I believe equally in philosophy and science, right? Hence, so of course culture is a philosophy, but if you put it on paper, you are not using the science, right? So agility, I am sure, is a word people have heard. Does anybody know the word agility? Please. Yeah.
So basically, agility is as per the circumstances which I was related to the change management.
Absolutely. So, in a simple word, ability to move quickly and easily. So, a rare combination of stability with flexibility, right? Now, if you look at this photograph, right, the person on my right and your left, yeah, what is he doing? He's dodging, right? Now, if you look at this figure with the decision-making cycle of the organization, right? Just imagine that me and Mr. Bhaskar are playing boxing, right? I'm going to punch you now, right? So, if I punch him, right, the moment my hand starts moving, it will not even take a second for this to reach to his face. In less than a second's time, his eyes, which are his frontline soldiers, your salespeople, your production team, the people who are actually working, right? They are observing that something bad is coming. I am going to get hurt. They capture the information, pass it to the brain, the MD office, right? That this thing is coming. What do I do? Right? The brain processes the risk, takes a decision, communicates to your body that please tilt and punch back. So many instructions. Everything is happening in a microsecond, not even a second. Now just compare this with the way we drive organization. We are like literally crawling, sleeping, right? So how do we build such an agile organization? Now again, philosophy एक part है. As I said, philosophy and science works together. The science is two things. What I say is, first is the way you design your teams, right? अपने hierarchy बनाते हैं typically, right? The speed at which organization is growing, the speed at which it is decreasing its growth ratio. That's a common phenomenon, right? Large organization 50%, 70% growth नहीं हो सकते unless they take an inorganic strategy of acquisitions. Why? Because they are slow. They end up creating silos because tree होता है ना, end में तो नीचे जो bottom line पे काम कर रहे हो, production वाला, sales वाला जानते ही नहीं एक दूसरे को. And those silos, it's just not, first of all, it kills the collaboration between cross function. When the company is very small, everyone is sitting in a small room. That's why startups grow so fast, because they are very well collaborated. Whether it's a production or whether it's a tech or whether it's a revenue, everybody is so much connected with each other. The flow of information is so fast. They can take faster decisions, they can align faster, they can move faster. But with the growth, that becomes a challenge, right? And इतना कम नहीं था, तो उसमें से हम लोग वो KRA KPI की स्टोरी करके और बैंड बजा देते हैं, right? परचेस का गोल है भाई लो कॉस्ट लेके आ, सेल होता है कि नहीं होता, तेल लेने गया. बड़ी बड़ी कॉन्फ्रेंस और एनुअल मीटिंग में बड़ा बोर्ड लगा देंगे, वन कंपनी, वन विजन, वन गोल. किसी को भी पूछो तुम्हारा गोल क्या है? मेरा गोल है ना टाइम से परचेस हो जाना चाहिए. तुम्हारा गोल क्या है? मेरा गोल है ना कस्टमर एक्विजिशन करना. अरे भाई वन गोल कौन सा है आप लोगों का? Nobody knows, right? So, but there is a beautiful method of how do you create small scrums. Has anybody heard the concept of scrums? That's a position we use in football, right? So everybody in team comes together, right? So how do you break such a large organization into small self-managing teams? It's a very simple science. You just need to sit with the people, sit with the functions, right? And adapt to the new philosophy, right? And that's the concept which is right now being explored by most of the large corporations because they have realized they're becoming slow. So they are bringing, it's also a concept called a startup ecosystem. They are trying to bring back the energy. छोटी-छोटी टीम बनाएंगे, छोटी-छोटी टीम, but उसमें हर functions है, right? और उस टीम को एक common goal से बांध देंगे. Multiple, so it's called a circle, right? और ऐसे multiple circles को cover करते हुए larger circles होंगे, right? So it's a very different way. I don't need anybody on top of my head. I need somebody who is next to me, who is behind to me. But और visualization और realization same होता है. मैं बोलता हूँ आप अगर मेरे को कंपनी के इंडक्शन के टाइम पे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्ट्रक्चर दिखाओगे, मेरे सिर के ऊपर 4 लोग खड़े होंगे. तो मेरे का काम है वजन उठाना ना. And it's not the visualization. That's how we actually behave also. Right? So this is the second pillar, and the so agility का and second part of agility. Yes, मेरे को आपने फिल्म में डाल दिया, but how do you empower me? बिकॉज एक्चुअल में वो टीम को अपने आप से डिसीजन लेना है, वो हेडक्वार्टर में जाएंगे तो आके रहा डिसीजन. सो हाउ डू नाउ एम्पावरमेंट, ऑफ कोर्स लाइक मिस्टर भावेश सेड, इट्स अ रिस्क एंड एवरी लीडर विल थिंक यार ऑथोरिटी ऐसे तो कैसे दे दूं. सो दिस इज अ जर्नी, बट अगेन दिस इज अ साइंस, दिस इज अ प्रोसेस. And if you adapt, you involve your people, yeah. First of all, I mean, you are just making them a participant. Then you hear them, and there's a process through which you align. Of course, again, culture plays a very vital role, because अभी इनको गोली मारूं कि इनको गोली मारूं, ये डिसीजन लेना है मुझे फ्रंट लाइनर को. अभी वॉर बैटलफील्ड में वो सोल्जर खड़ा है, स्ट्रेटेजी बनाई थी हमने दुनिया भर की, और दैट स्ट्रेटेजी स्टेटेड दैट यू नो you will attack your enemy from the left. You pass on through this cliff and you will see on the left side there is an enemy. Now battalion जा रही है और बीच में पता चला वो enemy तो cliff से पहले ही खड़ा है. फिर वो सर को फोन करेगा, सर क्या करूं मैं, आपने तो मेरे को बोला था क्लिफ क्रॉस करके फिर जाना है, उधर तो कोई नहीं है, वो लोग तो पहले ही है, तब तक तो मैं मर जाऊंगा. Right? So I mean this principles are very easy, but we don't adapt in day-to-day life, and that's the reason we are not building exponential organizations, right? The third pillar, what I feel is leadership attitude of a mother, and I am happy that there are more female members, so I'll get some appreciation by bringing this. But you know, fundamentally, again, please excuse my gender biasness if anybody feel, but father is more of a controller and mother is more of a giver, right? And people believe in a giver, right? They would feel more safe, right? Of course, it's not that mothers are not demanding, but you feel more safe, right? And they want to feel safe while working with you, right? And this again a principle जिसके ऊपर बहुत सारी बुक्स लिखी जाती है, बहुत कुछ होता है, but resume ही रिजेक्ट हो जाता है नाम पढ़ के, right? उसका लैंग्वेज पढ़ के, right? And I say we blame West a lot that they are very racist, but I'll say we Indians are the most racist people in the world. यहाँ पे एक गोरा चलता हुआ निकलेगा, कोई है नहीं ना, सॉरी. तो सब लोग देखेंगे ये क्या कर रहा है. आई मीन वी डोंट वेलकम, वी डोंट इंक्लूड डिफरेंट कल्चर्स. एंड मैं तो टीम बना रहा हूं ना, मुझे फुटबॉल खेलना है, तो व्हाट डज इट मैटर, राइट? मुझे अच्छा मिडफील्ड प्लेयर चाहिए, वो कौन सी लैंग्वेज बोलता है उससे मुझे कुछ फर्क पड़ना चाहिए, नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए, राइट? उसकी बिलीफ क्या है. हम लोगों का कॉमन रिलीजन अलग है, दो डिफरेंट है, राइट? सो लाइक आई लिव इन अ सोसाइटी एंड आई ऑल्सो लिव इन अ सिटी एंड ऑल्सो लिव इन अ कंट्री, राइट? एंड each place gives me something different, but my purpose of association with you is because we are playing football, right? And this is what we have agreed as a team. So I don't care whether you speak Tamil or you speak Telugu or you speak Kashmiri or whatever language. In fact, the beauty is hunt the best people. And right now with this gig economy, in fact we are already, हमारी कंपनी में पहले से काफ़ी मिक्स पॉलिसी थी, सो ऑफिस कंपल्शन नहीं है वो, बट राइट नाउ तो वी बिकम सो एक्साइटेड दैट यू नो नाउ वी कैन रिक्रूट फ्रॉम एनीवेयर. Doesn't matter where do you live, right? Are you a good contributor? Do you believe in does this purpose for which we are working, does this gives you excitement? In fact, that's how we select. If you are excited about this purpose, come join us, let's experiment. Now again, doesn't mean that every relationship becomes successful, but it's worth experimenting. And this also to selection criteria, right? How do I select, right? I give the last weightage to the experience. The first is what I feel is, do I see a common purpose? And there are ways to evaluate, right? वो attitude है, वो personality और purpose में खेलने की, right? Second thing is, of course, language might be different. But do I feel that he or she will be able to be part of the religion which I have created? Will you be able to carry the personality which you want to build for the organization? Personality matters a lot, right? And the last thing is, what experience does it bring in? Okay. And now this is the last slide. So now moving ahead, so those are the 4 pillars of leadership which I feel, how you build an exponential organization. And the last thing what I say is, what kind of competences we should seek, or we should explore, or we should be open to. I'm using all these words because some organizations are not even open to these skills. क्योंकि I've heard business leaders, वो नया बंदा हायर करेंगे, दूसरे दिन वो कुछ अगर सोच के कुछ करने को बोलेगा तो बोला तो सोचने को किसने बोला था? तू काम कर जो दिया गया है वो सोचने के लिए किसने बताया था? And that's how we kill. But in reality, you need to look for creativity, you need to look for critical thinkers, and the last but not least, this employeepreneurship. How many of you have heard this word? थोड़ा fancy word है, but technically bringing entrepreneurship in your team, right? And what I feel, I just say one thing to every entrepreneur. कौन सा ऐसा बंदा होगा जो घर जाके अपनी वाइफ को या अपनी मदर को बोलेगा मुझे नई जॉब मिली मैं फिर से फेल होऊंगा? Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be leader. Everybody wants to make a fortune, right? There is an entrepreneurship which is getting killed in the first few years of his job. You build it. In fact, आप उसको जितना ज़्यादा पानी दोगे उतना आपका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ज़्यादा स्पीड में मल्टीप्लाई होगा. At last, in the world of social media, your branding, your awards of best workplace and everything, nothing is going to work because Glassdoor will expose you. Right? So many things, social media will explore. अभी किसी को रिक्रूट करते हैं उससे पहले 10 एम्प्लॉय को तो आपको कहीं से लिंक्डइन से ढूंढ लेता है, वहां से रेफरेंस ले लेता है, तो कुछ काम नहीं करेगा. So let's focus on building real organization. And what I build real organization is real teams. So that's about it. Thank you, and I'm open for any questions. Sorry, Mr. Bhaskar. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sure. Yes, important. Otherwise, people will hear my snoring.
He talked about 4 pillars also. Not the last one, but very important. And when George and me, we were preparing the schedule, I'd send it to someone, for reference. I said, these are the speakers we are invited. The first question came was, there are no women, which you talked about diversity. So ma'am, we corrected. And thank you for coming. Now it is your turn.
Can I take 30 seconds of yours?
Yeah, please.
And I am also, in the beginning of my career, I ended up hiring a lot of women, freshers, and lot of my peers said, इनकी शादी होगी छोड़ के चले जाएंगे. I'm just adding to the female workforce. Sorry, I couldn't control by taking your slot. But trust me, I tell to everybody, what they can contribute is unbelievable, and we as a society must come out of those gender biasness, because what I learned is they work out of their will, and in fact they want to prove to the world, and that's what differentiates them much, uncomparable. So I'm sorry, but
It is worth mentioning. This number has to go multiple. So the next time we want at least 50. What do you think?
Thank you. Good afternoon. I promise my friend here that I'll try not to kill all of you, because one, I'm the last speaker, and two, I'm an academician. So if you give me 25 minutes, I'll of course use the 25 and may take 10 more. But I know we have already extended the session and we have to wind up by 4 was the target, don't worry. I'll try and close it as soon as possible. And I'll just briefly cover a few things that I wanted to. Avni, you raised a query that in pharma, they are not hiring maybe a person who is coming from some other area. Now see, why they are not doing so? Because you need certain level of technical expertise. So if you are prepared, okay, if you have done your homework, nobody can say that, you are not welcome here. In May 2017, doctors gave me 2 years to live. This is 23. I'm still around. So what happened? Very simple. I refused to die. And I just found out, okay, what took me to a particular stage that, your own life is at risk. And what you can do in order to ensure that, you continue. Fine? And that changed everything. So people tell you certain things. Okay? Don't accept the negatives that easily. I don't know your name, ma'am. Okay, Amita. Now, you had a question that there is crunch of project and you want to get people who are highly skilled, but they are not going to accept maybe a less of a salary. See, not everybody works only for money. Okay? Last 10 years, I was with Nirma University. How many of you know that as a brand? Most of you, yes. How many of you know Karnavati? Few. Okay, not many, few. So after 10 years of a job, you're shifting to another job. Okay, and people ask me the question, why leave such a strong brand? Why leave a brand wherein you had a strong presence? Okay, and why join this organization? I'll come back to the question that his 7-year-old asked his kaka that, can't you make this better? Fine? So that is what I'm doing right now. I have the belief that the system is better, the work culture is better. Only thing that I need to work on is the brand perception. I'm getting a lot of flexibility. Okay? So if you are, and I'm getting a lot of say in so many decisions that are being taken in the organization as on date. Okay? So find out, this highly skilled person might not only look for money. They might be looking for something else. Okay, find out what that is, you'll get the right person to your organization. Now, coming to my topic, that is the responsible use of data. I told you I have few pages of information here. I'll read a bit. I'll put my reading glasses on for that. I'll do a bit of reading and just introduce few things once in a while. I'll try to wind it up in 10 to 12 minutes. Just give me a signal if I exceed the time. Okay. So in the first half, I'm sure you've already been introduced to the 4th industrial revolution. You have discussion on blockchain, AI, quantum computing, and so on. So that has been covered in the first half. And now when we look at organizations and technological advancement and how an organization can reach to a stage of exponential growth, now this can be done only if they can manage volumes of data. I think Bhavesh Bhai mentioned that, when it comes to HR, we may not be very good at data crunching. That is not the issue. We are working with so many data which we are refining on a regular basis. So we have large amount of data available with us. Now, can you use that data to arrive at innovative decision making? That is the question. And through that, you are adding value to your operations. If you can do that, yes, you can become an exponential organization. So I am just going to focus on few things which we are not doing right, okay, where we are failing right now. So number one, as Bhavesh Bhai also mentioned, that we have data, information sets available with us. What we fail to do is align it with the business strategy. Okay? So, one thing which he mentioned, which I really liked what he said, is that, you should know the business. You should understand the business. I joined Karnavati in November. There was a person whom we recruited, and he joined this January. And with my Canada campus, there was some issues. I just shifted the problem onto this person because he has expertise in that particular area. Now he tells me that, I'm trying to settle down. It's already been 1.5 months. I said, sir, I did not take any time to settle down. From day 1 onwards, I've been on the go. Okay, so that is what you have to do. You have to understand, and I have a thorough understanding about all the business, all their campuses, what is it that they are doing, where they are going wrong, and in 3 months' time, 3-4 months' time. Okay, so if you can do that, and you can align the operations with the strategy, you will be able to create a exponential organization. So this is one area where people are going wrong, that they fail to align their whatever they are doing with the business strategy. So extra effort is required on the part of all the professionals sitting here, that please go beyond whatever you're doing right now and get more information, ask more questions. This will be appreciated. Okay, so that is something which you have to do. The second mistake that we make is that of overlooking the human factor. I consider myself as a technologically handicapped person. Give me a phone, I'll crib for 1 year, a new phone. Okay, because it's very difficult to come to terms with certain operation. My kid does it faster. Okay, but I find it very difficult. So when you look at employees in an organization also, there were certain ERP and other systems that we wanted to procure. And the moment I went through the presentation, I found that our people are not ready. Okay, so you need to have the data, literacy in place. You need to involve, because these are the people who are going to leverage the information for you. At Nirma, once we used a software for a short period of time, and Bhavesh Bhai said that there are organizations that do not have HR system. Nirma did not have an HR system. We had establishment department instead. So people are not trained the way all of you are trained. Now, what this person did when he filtered data of the applicants is, he left out a person who had done a graduation from Harvard and gone from the list. Okay, so we said that when the list of interviews, candidates who are qualified came to us, this person was in the does not qualify list and was weeded out. Okay, so when a person who is in charge of weeding out candidate, okay, working on data, does not have the required data literacy, these kind of big mistakes of loss can come up. Okay, and what happens is there is loss of human capital then. Okay, then another thing is that we always work with certain set of assumptions, and we stay with those assumptions. We believe it is okay. We can sense that it's not working out. Okay, I often tell my students, it's like, you're in a bad relationship, but you continue with it because you bought her few gifts, you have spent so much of time with her, or you have written a poem for him, and, even though things are not working out, you're continuing with the relationship. So it's something similar to that, okay, that you have assumptions, you're not testing those assumptions, you're not checking whether it is working or not. Okay, so from time to time, it's important that you put your assumptions to test. And human beings are very unpredictable. And nobody will understand it the way all these HR professionals would do. Because what applies to person A does not apply to person B. There are n number of person issues that you are encountering on a regular basis. Okay, now, when you're dealing with people issues on a regular basis, you have to understand that, you need to give them time. to get adjusted with the technology, adjusted with the culture. The culture part which you mentioned, sir, very important. That are you having the right kind of culture where people are feeling confident and they'll be able to carry on with their work. So that is another thing. Technological solutions will not yield result if the person who is running it is bereft of taking informed decision. Okay, he does not have the ability to take informed decisions. So are you training them for the same? Doesn't happen most of the time. Okay. Then when we talk about exponential organization or forward-looking organization, we have to also understand that you have to look beyond this commercial implication of technology. In the entire day, we might have looked at the benefits of HR technology and its ability to contribute to organization's goal, and so that the organization becomes an exponential organization. Now, even though an organization grows commercially, and but you also need to understand that is your organization using those same technology to bring in a social change. So often it's said that, you know, before you serve a market, you have to create a market. And if you have to create the market, then you need the trust of the people who are part of the community. Fine? So whenever we are talking about this exponential growth, exponential organization, you also need to understand this, yet that you have to use relevant opportunities so that you're not only expanding your market, but you're bringing in some kind of social change. So that also most of the time doesn't happen. People fail to look into that particular aspect. I also see students sitting here, the millennials. There have been surveys which have been conducted which says that these are people who they look for meaningful activity. They refrain to work for an irresponsible company. Okay? So until and unless you show that, you know, you're doing something meaningful for your own people, for people outside, there'll not be that engagement and commitment. That is something which will not be in place. Now, with Karnavati, I'm currently working on, I'm just creating a blueprint so that, you know, I can try and improve the brand perception. And in the process of going through a lot of documents and things, I found that in the last 4 years, they have spent over 1.5 crores for giving, you know, advances without any interest to employees whenever they have been in any kind of problem. Including the COVID time where people have spent, we all understand that we might have some or the other issue in our family amongst our acquaintances, relatives, where they might have ended up paying huge bills. Now, this money has been paid by the university and they did not take it back, especially with the serious cases that were in place. Now, these are things which will be appreciated by all the stakeholders, okay? But people are not aware of it. I came across it because I was going through data for a particular purpose, and then there is this audited statement, and I ask question, I come to know. So these things, these efforts taken by the organization, it has a positive impact on any organization, the culture. People will have more of commitment, engagement with the organization. Okay, now a few other academic perspectives as far as this topic is concerned. The responsible use of technology, it requires an understanding of ethics and social responsibility. So ethical implications of the new technology is something which all organizations have to explore. Okay? So that is something which all of you have to pay attention to. The ethical guidelines, the standards should be established to ensure that technology is used in a way that, as you said, the values of the organization, it aligns with the values of the organization. Fine? And now, as exponential organizations, I'm going a bit fast. Is it okay? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, as exponential organization, they collect large amount of data. It is crucial also that this data is protected. So when I am using your software, HR software, I am an applicant, I am filling in my detail, I am giving you my Aadhaar card also sometimes. How many of you are taking it? Few of you are taking it, yeah. So I gave it to my current organizations too. So what about data privacy? Fine? That is also a concern which organization has to understand and address, that do you have procedures to safeguard the sensitive data that people are giving you with, people are trusting you with, okay? Can you do that? And another, of course, robust governance is required to engender this kind of trust. People won't trust you. They'll not be loyal or committed if, they don't have faith in you that, their data will be protected. So another thing is that lasting differentiation will be created by power of people who use and leverage the technology. So your technology should be designed with end users in mind, and it should focus on creating intuitive and user-friendly interfaces. Okay? I should not struggle with the platform that you have acquired for me, with the minimal amount of training that I have been put through, and the large amount of expectation that you have from me. It puts me in a tight spot. Okay? So can you, as HR or as people who are part of the community, of the organization, can you help me, support me, so that I am not put in this difficult situation? So, overall, the responsible use of technology in building exponential organization, it requires a multifaceted approach with priorities on ethics. I'm just repeating what I just discussed. Data privacy and security, human-centered design, sustainability, and continuous learning and development. So there are certain questions that comes to one's mind, that can you generate lot from little? All these exponential organizations, the examples I am sure must have been shared in the morning. So these are not organizations that are very large organizations. Fine? They have done a lot from little. Okay? So can you generate lots from little and then later on scale it up? Question number 2. Can you connect with abundant data and responsibly manage it based on whatever we discussed so far? And are we ready to scale up our business strategy? As Sir mentioned, the culture, organizational framework, and the purpose, and it should be with the same rate at which, not the linear growth, at the same rate at which there is the growth in technology. And can you leverage exponentials to drive greater good for the society? We should not keep that in the background. Okay? Now, if answer to these questions are in a yes, you are ready to be an exponential organization. You will be reaching there. Okay? And as a common man, when we observe an exponential organization and attribute its success to serendipity or good luck, okay, we need to understand that it is informed and responsible decisions that have made it what it is. Because often you say कि उसकी किस्मत अच्छी थी इसलिए ये organization यहाँ तक पहुँचा है. But that's not the case. It's always informed decisions that have led organization to reach to a particular level. This one-day conference, I'm sure, would have helped you look at the good, the bad, and of course the daunting, the challenges that are in the way. And I'm sure all of you will be leaving here with a lot of new learnings. AMA has provided you an opportunity to understand how we can, merge the use of the technology with the HR practices or processes that we have in the organization. And I wish you all the best in whatever initiatives, endeavors that you engage in future. And with this note, I conclude. Thank you for hearing me out. I'm sure I might have completed it in time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. You brought a very different perspective. You talked about data science and responsible use. What I liked about your presentation was go beyond. I think this is something which we need to do and ask more relevant questions. I think this is very important. You talked about ethical implications also. This is another area which HR is struggling, but I think we need to address some points. And your last point, which is very, very important, is part of your continuous learning. So message is very clear, loud and clear, and we are extremely thankful to you for your kind. House is open for few questions if you are not tired, and if new faces are there to ask some more questions. Of course, old faces also can ask. So if you have some please. Samalo. Take care. લાગ્યું નથી ને ભાઈ? Ajay, are you all right? Tal na karis bhai. Okay, any last questions before, ma'am, academics, Dr. Magan Bhai is here, some other faculty members are also here from Anand, and one important questions we would like to ask ma'am. Ma'am, are you listening?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, myself Neha Dubey.
One minute, Sneha, 1 minute. I'll just complete it. I'll just complete in one words. We were talking about exponential organizations and role of tech HR basically. And some of the very practitioners would ask these questions. Are our educational institutes are ready for this, and do they have any inputs? Magan bhai, ma'am, we are asking very open questions. This, have we incorporated changes which industries requires in your course curriculum?
No.
So that is where I think the gap lies. And I request these practitioners to go and spend some time with this institute and help them out, because you know the hard realities better than anyone else. This is a missing aspect, and I think a lot of HR practitioners should come in, and helping hand is badly required. Because if I talk about Mumbai University, you will be amazed, which is one of the reputed university. They have not changed the course curriculum of MBA program since last 25 years. There is a committee which has been revised 3 times. Committee members has changed. No revision on.
Something is changing.
So this is the hard reality of the life, and this is where informally, Magan Bhai knows. He spent 2 terms with MS University, one of the reputed college, Faculty of Social Work. And he said that we can't go beyond this because ये लिखा हुआ है, इससे हम आगे कुछ नहीं कर सकते. I said, who stops you? Number one, who stops you? It is your initiative. And I am very happy in his time when he was a dean, he took an initiative. 2 programs, HRM and MSW, Master of Social Work and MHRM. You teach labor laws, you teach OB in one program, you don't teach in other programs, and the same students are going to be employed in industries. How do you make the difference? That is where he introduced a value-added program. He said, this is not an optional, this is a must, and you have to attend it. Even if there are 25 students, 20 benefits, our purpose is served. And that is where we introduce a program called Organizational Behavior and Labor Laws for first year students. So this is, I thought, but this is the high time we need to incorporate. Yes ma'am, Sneha ma'am, I'm sorry.
Sir, myself Neha Dubey, I am coming from Parul University. Sir, my question is to you. Women's play, as you said and agreed also, women's play a vital role in the organizational growth exponentially, but why they are paid less?
Sorry, am I too loud or okay? Fair question for the unfair treatment. I don't see a rational into it, but I think probably a new word my son again gave me, stereotype thinking, right? So it's a sad part, and as I said, even my beginning, so when I shifted back to India and started creating an organization, it was just an accident. I wanted a team initially whom I feel can be part of this dream. And I ended up selecting people who believed in the dream. I could see in their eyes that they are going to have fun working on this concept. But most people still unfortunately looks in the same lens. इनकी शादी हो जाएगी तो शादी से पहले 6 महीने की छुट्टी ले लेंगे. This was told to me, right? This was also an advice given to me कि फिर salary संभल के रखना, growth ज़्यादा मत देना, but that's a stereotype thinking. But I see they are fighters, and they are uncomparable. But what I feel is the game will change the more the female will actually come out and show to the world what they can actually contribute to the professional society, because they work with heart. Or in fact वो सबसे बड़ा differentiator है. What I have seen is because I mean I'm sorry, मैं बीच में ये इसके पर blog भी लिखने वाला था, and one of the very senior female said पार्थी ये थोड़ा स्टीरियो ये तेरा कुछ प्रॉब्लम करेगा. बट व्हाट आई फेल्ट इज कि बिकॉज यू नो दे वांट टू शो टू देयर फैमिली फर्स्ट दैट मैंने खाली इसके लिए पढ़ाई नहीं की है, बिकॉज यू कैन गेट मी मैरिड टू अ नाइस फैमिली, बट आई हैव स्टडीड टू प्रूव माई सेल्फ, राइट. सो देयर फाइट एक्चुअली स्टार्ट्स विद द पेरेंट्स, द ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स, then wherever they get married, and it's a long journey, but it's a very unfair. There's no reason why should they pay less. In fact, they should get paid more, but it's just a stereotype thinking कि कितना टाइम रहेंगे, right? But people don't think जितना टाइम भी है उतने टाइम हमको क्या contribution मिल रहा है, and that's what we should care the most, and they can create a beautiful change. Yes, I also had an experience. A lot of people came and lot of females had a shorter duration, but because we had a so clear understanding, the moment they realized, they themselves started working on the backup plan. So it was never a problem, but probably more and more leaders needs to just understand this philosophy that there's no, in any way, आप मेल मेंबर भी ले लोगे तो कौन गारंटी देता है कि 3 साल से ज़्यादा टिकेंगे आज के टाइम पे. There's no assurance, but it's just biased thinking, nothing else. And it should get killed for sure.
That means, sir, we should have some policy for this also.
No.
We should never have policy for this. I'm sorry to strongly object this. The moment we make policy, we are not including everybody, or we are not having an equal treatment. I'm sorry to cut you. The equal treatment means every member gets an equal treatment. Why should I have a special policy? If you are a member of the team, लेट्स से आप विकेट कीपिंग कर रहे हो, मैं फील्डिंग कर रहा हूँ, टीम के कुछ रूल सेम है. हाँ, ये हो सकता है रोल बेस्ड पे स्ट्रक्चर डिफरेंट हो, राइट. सम फंक्शंस में भी इवन ग्रेड स्ट्रक्चर में भी डिफरेंसेस होते हैं. मे बी आई एम ऑन ग्रेड जी, यू आर ऑल्सो ऑन ग्रेड जी, बट डिपेंडिंग ऑन माई फंक्शन द ओवरऑल बजट एलोकेशन माइट बी स्लाइटली अप एंड देयर. बट स्पेशल पॉलिसी के मैं बहुत अगेंस्ट में हूँ. सेम पॉलिसी होना चाहिए. Everybody.
की ही मैं बात कर रही थी.
I'm sorry.
And we don't negotiate well also. So if we know our worth, if we have belief in ourselves, then we should go for strong negotiation. ये क्या कई बार हमारे अंदर की शंका हमें रोक देती है कि नहीं, maybe this is not possible, everything is possible. So ask. Unless you ask, nothing will come to you. So that is another mistake that we often make. My kid was born on the 30th of September. Till 19th, I was driving the vehicle and going to the university, because I did not want to, take a break early, and I would want 6 months maybe later on. So, when your work is speaking, when you're confident about your own self, nothing can stop you from a higher salary. But you have to थोड़ा सा वो हिचक हटा के आपको मांगना पड़ेगा, क्लियरली बोलना पड़ेगा. दिस वोंट वर्क, दिस वोंट डू, दैट वी आर नॉट डूइंग.
दिस इज एन अमेजिंग. इनफैक्ट अगेन दिस इज अ सोसाइटी प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि लड़कियों को घर में भी सिखाते हैं कॉम्प्रोमाइज करना है, आपको कंट्रोल में रहो, राइट. सो आई मीन दिस इज व्हाट वी टीच, राइट. तो लड़कियों को बचपन से घर में भी सिखाया जाता है कि ज़्यादा डिमांडिंग नहीं होना है आपको, और लॉजिक ये दिया जाता है कि आप शादी करके जहाँ पे जाओगे वहाँ पे you might need to adjust. So adjustment is a philosophy which are never taught to boy, but which is taught to a girl. You have to adjust, which is again wrong. But again, I'm not here to change the society, but I really appreciate you are bringing a very fundamental question, and आपका compromise वाला point था बहुत genuine है, because females उस aspect में नहीं fight करते. So you have to behave equal to be treated equal. That's what I probably have to say.
Very good. Good answer. But Sneha, you have opened up another important topic. We'll have a separate seminar. And we'll ask Magan Bhai to... Magan Bhai will have a tough time, not us. Okay, Unmesh Bhai, would you like to say something before I I request George to present a moment to both of them, and then George, aajo. Thank you very much, sir. Please have a seat. No. This is the motivation. We want you to come again and again. This is a bet here. Please have a seat.
Thank you very much, everybody. So I'll read your suggestion, but yes, point taken. In the next conference, sir, one of the theme can be this, and likewise all other themes. As I have always mentioned, the pre-lunch session, that we are a feedback-driven organization, and feedbacks are more important for us, and the demand are also more important. So we will review your feedback, we will work on that, and do participate. At the same time, with Mr. Parth or Mr. Joshi or we as a team, we were discussing that how do we take it forward for this HR conference, because conference is one static point. Today it is like either everybody will be Maharana Pratap or Jhansi Rani, or everybody is crashed down in the share market. But let us move forward. How do we take this as an academic work for your learning, for AMA's learning, or for AMA's contribution to the society or the institutes or the corporates or the HR professionals? So maybe 2 points are coming in my mind. One is, if you would like to become the volunteer for the HR activities in future, those who are stationed in Ahmedabad, those who are not stationed in Ahmedabad, both offers are open. Then please contact Mr. George. He is my colleague, and as rightly shared by Mr. Joshi, that he is a backbone, and backbones are always important. They are not seen, but I am trying that my backbones, and including me and my face, is seen to everybody, because we have to run the show with due respect towards all the people who have been supporting indirectly. So please meet Mr. George, and if you would like to be the volunteer for HR activities or HR training subjects or HR analysis, training need analysis, anything, if you would like to be, then you are most welcome. And one of the point with Mr. Parth and other few team members we were discussing is, there was one topic in I think Chirag Jain's presentation, agility. So let us work on that part, sir, with your support, everybody's support. And it is not an award or recognition, but let us understand where Ahmedabad corporates, or where Ahmedabad HR department, or where Ahmedabad people in HR department stand for agility. Let us understand that. Let us float out one survey. Let us understand how and what way we are working. If Bhavesh Bhai had told that we are not at par like South Indian companies or the MNCs, let us understand, let us review that feedback, and let us give it to all our local corporates, that this is our agility feedback. And if they would like to work on that, it will be a future blessings to the generations who are coming here, because when you will be grown-up professionals, you will get some benefit of that survey. So if you all agree, then with your support, I can start on that. Sure? So please be the volunteer, right? Good work means more work. If you are saying yes, then there is a work already standing. So please be the volunteer. Please meet Mr. George or me. We are here only. And thank you very much, Bhaskar Joshi sir. Once again, clap for him. All the youngsters and including all other seniors at par of any age. He is volunteering to AMA for last 21 years or more than that, at his own cost. It is not about money. It is about his time. It is about his dedication. It is about his intention. And he is chasing us as an office. Unmesh bhai, a date aavi gayi, jab apne kariye. Unmesh bhai might forget it, or Unmesh bhai might slip out to some other event. He will always put me on toes. So thank you very much, sir, for being the soldier and the volunteer.
So George also can join.
Yes.
George,
One group photograph over here.
we'll have a group photograph.
Hope you must have filled up the feedback forms. Thank you.
Give us a 2 minutes to suggest vote of thanks and then.
All those who want to take a group photograph,
Just give us a 5 minutes. Just give us a 5 minutes. Don't go away. Don't go away. Just just 1 minute. Students, please wait. Don't go away. Just 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. I need to summarize and then vote of thanks. First of all, thank you very much to the audience. I think very live audience. Without you, we would have never successful. We started day with Mr. Radia, our president address, and he talked about new ideas, strategy, followed by Chief Guest Yatindra Sharma Saab. He talked about the need for building exponential organizations and various stages he has talked about, including environment and ecosystems. Then we had a session by Surinarayan. I think I don't have to repeat it. It has been wonderful, and he spoke from the technology point of view. Then we had a session by Sumit, again in his own very soft way. He spoke on various aspects of future of work. Mr. Join talked about exponential organizations and how it can grow. Then we had Bhaveshbhai Upadhyay, who talked in his own language, CEO's expectations. Then we had Mr. Parth, who spoke on what is HR role basically and how really we can go about it. And the last but not the least, Dr. Shalini, who gave us a very different perspective. So we are extremely thankful to all the speakers. We are extremely thankful to you. We are extremely thankful to Radia Saab, Unmesh Bhai, Ajay, George. George has been a great help. I have been disturbing him. But without you, we would have never achieved it. So thank you very much. And I have introduced George this time. The people, many questions came from ladies. So the lady who asked from Tata's, ma'am, can you come forward here? Aage aa jaiye. Yeah, please come. I want, where is Unmesh sir? Sir, this is the best questions. We can give her a memento. So, highly. ऊपर आगे फोटो लेना not required. This we require to ask you again.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the spirit. Yes.
And your motivation goes up when you see these 1, 2, 3 ladies keep on nodding. That means your message is very loud and clear. So I want 3 of you to come and accept only one memento. Come. Unmesh bhai. Madam. So we have 3, don't worry. ऊपर आ जाइए. So next time we ask more questions. Right?
Yeah, I will.
Where Unmesh bhai? How Unmesh sir? Parth. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So this is part of our encouragement. I'll invite Dr. Magan bhai. Morning, Unmesh bhai, he had a desire to say thank you to you and EMA team for allowing Parul students to come all the way from Baroda. And he wanted to give some memento. So, may I request Magan bhai to, first to Unmesh bhai and then George also. George also. Deepak, please join. दीपक. So first to George, आगे आ जाओ. Deepak, come. अच्छा, Deepak has already brought a flowers also. छुपा के रखा है. आ जाओ जॉर्ज.
आ जाओ.
दीपक आ जाओ. दीपक ऊपर आ जाओ. दीपक जॉर्ज ने आपको. So thank you both the gentlemen. Please give us your feedback, which is very, very important. This will really help us, and be kind to us. So next time at least they call you and me also. So that is on the lighter side. Thank you very much. We stand up for a national anthem. Biju kahin? No? Okay. No national anthem. Okay. And then you can join us for a tea at the same place. Downstairs. Thank you. Thank you very much.